Next, it is my pleasure to introduce Phebe Eckfeldt. She's a nurse in her community. She's a member of the National Committee from the Boston branch and one of the leaders of the Women's Fight Back Network.
Comrades and friends, many years ago, my first introduction to Workers' World Party was when I went to a demonstration in support of the revolution in Angola. And we ended up at Faneuil Hall, which is a big historic hall. And a woman opened up the whole rally. There was hundreds of people sitting in Faneuil Hall. And she was up on the pulpit that they have there. And she started speaking about the revolution in Angola. And I was like, wow, how did she do that? It was amazing. It blew me away. How does she know how to talk? How does she know what to talk about? How does she know how to formulate it? And in the years since, how many times have I heard another woman, comrade, or LGBT comrade or friend say, wow, what brought me to the party was when I heard Monica speak, or when I heard Leslie speak, or when I heard Maya X speak, or when I heard Martha Gravatt speak. They're like, geez, or Deirdre, that's attracted me to the party. And yesterday, if I wasn't a party member already, and I heard Lone Tron speak, man, I would have joined right away. That next minute, it was unbelievable, Like Frank always says, if I wasn't a member, I would join right away. And I would have joined right away. So it shows you it's critical to the development of the party to develop women, LGBTQ, and the most oppressed politically, educationally. And it's not magic. I found out that it's not magic that Kim could stand up there and do that in Faneuil Hall. It's a lot of studying and reading and working hard and getting up your courage and holding classes. So we really, in the party, I think it's really important to remember that holding classes, political education classes, is in essence upholding affirmative action and the national question concretely. It really is. It's upholding the national question and affirmative action. And the classes need to be led by women, by LGBTQ people. Because who will speak for us? We have to speak for ourselves. We have to be able to articulate the party's politics so we can speak with our class in our own language and from our own background. And our experience that we come to the table with informs our view of the world, and it informs our consciousness, whether it's Black, Latina, Asian, Native, Arab, LGBTQ, young and old, immigrants. When we bring that life experience, that consciousness, and we mix it in with Marxism-Leninism, and we apply Marxism-Leninism to it, it's totally powerful, and that's what the party needs. And this is how we do outreach and build the party. So in the party, I think we've been doing this. I know a lot of branches are doing this. We're just encouraging to continue and other branches to do this. We have to create a space, both mentally and physically, for the most oppressed comrades, for women, LGBTQ, to educate ourselves politically. We have to hold classes. And it takes effort because we often don't have the time to read, to study, to do the research necessary because we have 2 jobs. We have families to raise and take care of. We're taking care of the home. We're caring for our children. We're often caring for elders. We're often struggling with physical and mental health issues. So it's not easy, but we have to create that space. Now, I think it's correct that the matriarchy, we talk about, Dorothy Ballin talks about the matriarchy and feminism and Marxism, was actually took up 3/4 of human history, most of human history that's existed, right? And we were leaders of that society. Women were always leader. The Badash, we were listened to, we were revered, we were upheld, we were leaders, we spoke, we led. And then with the overthrow of the matriarchy and the advent of the patriarchy and capitalism came the necessity to subjugate women and push us down and make us, subjugated. And one big way was to silence us. And so we became, over those centuries, we were silenced in many ways through shame, through violence, through criticism, through verbal abuse, through racism, and through bigotry, till we became voiceless. But our party is changing that and has changed it and will continue to change it through political education, where women are regaining our voices, where LGBTQ people are regaining our voices. And we need to encourage that. We need the voices. We have to bring those voices back. And male comrades have to be aware that this is what we come to the table with. The shame, the criticism, the verbal abuse, the lack of confidence and self-esteem, so that we need your support in that way to kind of step aside a little bit, to be sensitive, but to step aside a little bit and let us lead. To talk once, possibly twice, keep your comments short and let us lead. So it is a revolutionary act to educate women who can then speak and educate and organize the most oppressed. It is a revolutionary act for women to understand and grasp Marxism, Leninism, and to determine the tactics and strategies for fighting capitalism, because that's part of it too. Part of determining the tactics and strategies that are going to happen from, out there in the world. So, what we were tasked to do by Larry was to read Capitalism at a Dead End, and I think a lot of branches did do that before you came. I wanted to read just a short quote from it. Fred says, "The time to openly attack and expose capitalism and advocate for its opposite, which is socialism, has not been this ripe since the Great Depression of the 1930s. The capitalist system is transparently rotten to the core and taking a huge toll on the lives of workers, whether employed or unemployed. The devastation in the African American, Latino, Latina, and other oppressed communities is extreme. The struggle against capitalism for socialism requires that communists bring explicit knowledge of the system of exploitation to the workers and the movement. That is essential to the struggle for socialism. Understanding the enemy is a basic necessity for working class leaders." So let's go home, read Fred's book, digest it, discuss it with the women in the leadership leading these classes. And then, as my fellow speakers have said, then we can go out into the street and we can practice. We can say to our coworker or our friend or a neighbor or a fellow student, we can lean over, we can say, "Hey, have you ever heard of Marx's law of capitalist accumulation?" And most likely they will say, "No, what's that?" And then you will be able to explain clearly and effortlessly what it is. And they will say, "Wow, that makes a lot of sense," right? And that's the beginning of building Workers' World. Thank you very much.